So let's take a first look. Well, would you believe it? It's a random spider caught up in the lacing mechanism. Let's crack on. Hello, and welcome to another Mr. Petabyte video, and this one's a little bit different insofar as we're looking at the Sony SL-F30. It's come in its original packaging as well, which is absolutely great. We've got the remote, we've got the manual, so let's crack on and get this unpacked. It even has a polystyrene. Yeah. Keep this box and packaging material for future transportation. And there we go. So here it is, the SL-F30. I bought this off eBay, and it was featured in the eBay Roundup video a couple of weeks ago, and I just had to buy it, really, to be honest. I do like working on these machines, but I don't like buying them on eBay. Main reason I don't like buying them is that they always seem to get damaged in transit. The baseboard is very close, because it's so slim, to the metal base cover, and there's a little plastic standoff, stop it touching the metal as best as possible. But that gets punched in transit and it cracks the board and it causes all sorts of problems, and it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. So yeah, so I avoid buying them. But this one was actually in its original box, and the packaging is actually really, really good from Sony. And the buyer, fair play, he put it in the original packaging and then put it in another box with additional sort of packing as well to stop it from getting damaged. So that's really, really great. So like I say, it comes with the manual and remote control. I will say I have cheated and I have checked the machine very, very briefly. And I put a poll up as well. It's just the first time I've done that. And not a huge amount of people took part, but that's absolutely cool because people did take part. That's really, really nice. And, you know, I'll do a bit more of that. You know, I just really want to share this, and I want to learn from you guys as much as you want to learn from me. It's a whole learning experience about these machines and where they are now. So that's really fantastic. So I'll put the results up. But I do like the way 12% of people said it was a random spider that got caught in the lacing gear mechanism. That's fantastic. Thank you. That really made me smile. So, yes, will it be what the top vote was, which is the Hall effect sensor? And yeah, let's check it out. Let's crack on. Okay, so let's whip the cover off. So, first look, and it's actually really tidy, not too much dust either, which is nice. Little bit of rust, that's quite common on these, to be honest. They don't take much to get the cans to oxidize, but that's fine. Head drum wise, I'd say there's a fair bit of wear there. We'll see how we go. It's quite shiny. But yeah, I think we need to plug it in and try a cassette. But before we plug it in, we have to do the plug check. And I know a lot of you skip this, but people in the US do find this quite amusing. So here we go. Obviously not insulated pins there, which is of the time. It's a Legrand plug. So these were actually quite cool. I used to really like these back in the day. Yeah, so 5 amp fuse. That's fine. The cable probably is rated for 5 amp. Yeah, very common for TVs to have 5 amp fuses and 3 amp for video recorders, so that's okay. It is fused pretty much to the mains cable, I think. Although I don't know. I think that should really be a 3 amp. But anyway, it's better than a 13 amp. So let's crack on. Okay, so let's get the bottom cover off. And you don't have to take screws out, as you probably know if you're used to these machines, which I know a lot of you are. Oh, missed a screw, actually missed 2. There we go. So, there's all that lovely glue that's caused the Hall effect to die. So what we're going to do is undo this nut, remove this, and we'll take a look. So removing this, I've already done it, but I thought I'd just show you how I did it. And basically, I do actually have a proper spanner for this, but I can't find it. So I did use these, which was really terrible. Held the whole disc and undid it. And then the washer, I used my magnetic screwdriver to lift that off. Reason I do that is this gets caught in the threads, so it makes this even harder to get off. And then to lift it off, I then use the grips again and give it a bit of a rock. So it can be quite tight as well as being, because obviously the magnets are pulling. But yeah, just very gently take it off. See, there's no marks there. I've been very gentle, and it's off. And yeah, gosh, the amount of rubbish in that glue, crazy. No wonder that. Oh gosh, there's actually glue on the actual sensor itself. So yes, but that's what makes them fail. It's purely just that glue. So yeah. So one thing with the F30 you can do is actually remove this can, and this just gives just a bit more space. If it was any more difficult than this to remove, then I wouldn't bother doing it, but it's so easy. And the plugs are going to come out the bottom anyway, so that connects to the heads. And see if I can get this off a bit more elegantly. It does not want to come off. it's actually really stuck at the top end. Blimey. I'm trying not to put it by the cables, but I sort of didn't have an awful lot of choice there. And this will lift up, and I think it just gives me enough space to pull out the wires from the heads. There is a lip there as well. Just working out. That really is tough. So I've just pulled the cover off. I'm actually just pushing it off because it's really tight. I'm trying not to cut myself. There we go. And this whole can pretty much just lifts out. There's one more connector here. Oh, that one's fairly well seated as well. So yeah, can is out. Good. And the other thing I'm going to do as well is just remove this because it makes it a lot easier. Well, it means you can drop it out without disturbing these guides. I've mentioned this before in previous videos. This is actually, there's a lot of flexibility in that, and you can just lift it up, carefully remove the screw, and there we go. Now, saying that, I'm going to have to remove this because the whole drum needs to get past this, so let's do that. It doesn't matter that I took that plastic assembly off, it's nothing really. So that was actually quite a long way in. It's interesting. There we go. So we can turn the deck over and undo the 3 screws to drop the drum out. Okay, so the cables are pulled through. A little bit of a faff, but it isn't bad. Then we take out the 3 retaining screws with their springs and their washers, and make sure you don't lose any of these. And you put them all back as well. So there we go. And then we drop the drum out. Lift the machine out. And there we have it. All good to go. And now take a really good look at the drum and the heads. The heads do look pretty good. Quite a bit of wear there. You can see quite a bit of wear on the upper section of the upper drum there. It's 1, 2. Of course, this is a 60. No, it's a 30. For a second there, I thought there was a second head. The F60 basically is exactly the same as the F30, except it has a third head for good stills. So, yes. For a second there, I thought I saw a second head. So, these are stuck down with a bit of glue. The one side's come off fine, but the other side hasn't. I'm always a bit careful not to disturb these more than I need to. Sometimes you just have to give them a little bit of a gentle helping hand. Gosh. I don't like things flying about. So okay, lift this off, and there's a clip which is here, and then there's only one set of wires. It's literally the wires for the actual motor itself, and cables are actually tangled, and not by me. It would have been back in the day. So there we go, you can see where the glue was. There's actually none on that side, which is fine. And what I will do, while this is out, I'll take this off, and I will probably resurface both upper and lower drums. I might even take the heads off to do it, just so I can do a thorough job. But yeah, I probably will. We'll see. I think I'll be happier doing that. So there we have it. Lots of glue there, and it's gone really horrible, to be honest. So I now need to desolder the Hall effect, and then give it a good clean out all the glue, put a new one in. There is mention of replacing these caps. I've never known these bad, to be honest. And I can't get any data on this chip. Sorry, it's a CX879, this chip. It's also used for the capstan motor, I think on the C9. Could be wrong. My memory serves me right, it is a C9. Possibly the F1 as well. So, yeah, but I'm not going to change those. So, yeah. Let's get desoldering. Yeah, sorry, I went ahead and forgot to press record, so I put just a blob of fresh solder on there, and then that should run off quite nicely. Yeah, I feel that's fairly free. That one isn't. We should be able to pick this out. And what might have been an idea is actually to soak it before I picked it out, so I pulled out as much glue as possible. Now you'll notice, I'm just going to say this now because I might forget later, the Hall effect itself, there's a round section, and that round section is what you want facing up. So it goes that way, staggered legs into the into the housing there. So yeah, I'll get and clean that up. I'm going to use isopropyl and some cotton wool buds. I do sometimes get a toothbrush in there as well, but what I want to avoid is getting any isopropyl on these copper coils, because it will dissolve the enamel. One time I clean forgot cleaning away, took off quite a bit of enamel. It still worked fine, but you just don't want to compromise the motor if you can help it. So yeah, I'll do that next. So that's all cleaned up. It's got rather nicely, just a tiny bit of glue staining, I think that is, just around there. That might be just a tiny bit of glue, but that's fine. And I've prepared the new wall effect. Just grab that. So see there, circle at the top, that's the bit that faces up. And I've bent the leads around. I just bend it around a small screwdriver, roughly to the right length, and then splay the legs out because it's staggered. So lead 1 is out, 2 in, 3 out, 4 in, and that should go somewhere near to going straight in. Like so. See the 4 wires just poking through there. Make sure that's flush. And yeah, I shall get that soldered and put it back together. So all soldered, and just checked it was all nice and clean. So put this back together. Put it in the clip first. And like so. Get them as close as possible to where they need to go. Push the clip down. Easier said than done. That's because I'm getting the cable caught. There we go. And there's actually enough leeway there just to put it to where it needs to be. So I just had to do a bit of a double take because the screws here are actually they actually have a shakeproof washer on them, and earlier units didn't. They all had the same screws. So these are from the plastic assembly on the top, and all 4 screws are the same. So 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom, but they tend to have a bit more glue on those ones. So I wonder if they reduced the amount of glue and went for shakeproofs instead. So that's good. Other thing that's worth noting is there is a washer. You need to make sure there is a washer in there. If there's not, you need to find it, because it will cause this to not sit properly, and it will grind against the coils. So yeah, but we've got that, so that's good. Pop that back on. Then washer, and then a nut. Sometimes can take a little bit of persuasion. Yeah, and I have found my spanner. So I'll just hold the whole assembly. Just turn it around so you can see what I'm doing. And 7mm, I think it is. Just tighten that up. Perfect. You can do it by holding this, but I'm trying not to strain the bearings more than I have to. I mean, I'm sure they'll be noisy to start off with anyway. That's not unusual. So don't worry, if they are noisy to start off with, run it a bit and I'm sure it'll be fine. So the next thing, I'm going to strip this down completely. So when I say that, take the top off, take the upper drum off, take the heads off,
and then I'm going to resurface both the lower and the upper. I might as well, it's all out of the machine. The lower isn't too bad, but I just think it's more uniform that way. Allen key. So I'm just going to slacken that off. I don't know whether that's the right screwdriver, whether it'll do the job. I think it's a bit too big. Bit of glue on that. Fixing a chest of drawers. No beginning to my talents. One's good 2mm, so screwdriver in the top and just push. This one I've already undone actually, I think. Yes. And once they're free, you can take away the screwdriver. It's just literally there to stop the heads from moving. Move the screws to the threads, sort of at 90 degrees to each, and that of course also acts as your sort of pusher, so you can tighten these up gradually and it will push the heads off if they're stuck on. So next thing is to desolder. So yeah, so A white, B a red. So let's do that next. Let's see if we've got enough heat in this iron. Yeah, there we go. Tend to use tweezers to stop any damage to the cable. Trying to do this so you can see what I'm doing. Easier said than done. Take this off and see it's never been removed before. Because of the sticker. There we go. And then the heads. So tighten these up just gently until you feel them sort of bite. And just a little bit of a turn. Gosh, these are tough. I think they're coming off though, if I slacken them off. I don't know, gosh, they're really tight actually. Here it's starting to, there we go. You'll feel when they come free because suddenly there's no effort. So there we go. So looking in there, you'll see the pickup points determining the position of the heads. Don't know whether they're all used on this particular model because I'm guessing this would have been the same drum used in the F60, just obviously with the different head disc. So what I'll do now is I will resurface these. I've shown that in a dedicated video actually, which you should find in the Betamax repairs playlist. But so yeah, it's not too bad. But like I say, I might as well do it. Just to set up a drum. It's just got that line right at the top of it. So yeah, so give them a clean and then resurface them and take it from there. Quite grubby. All surfaced and looking pretty good. You see one or two little sort of stray scratches on this bottom bit, but it doesn't matter as long as the tape path itself is consistent, which it is. I'm happy with that. It's difficult to get right into that very bottom bit, but I don't worry about that. I've never had a problem with that. And upper drum looks great. There's a little bit of a smear there actually. That's fine. Give it one final clean before I put that on. That's great. Super. So let's get these heads back on. Let's do it this way. So A is white. Let's line them up with screws. Doesn't matter which screw goes where. They are precision milled, these end screws. 2mm. So I'd say that again, just in case it skipped forward and said, oh, what size? Oh gosh, don't want to do that too often. It's quite tight going back on. I did actually clean the rim as well because I was a bit like, it's a bit weird how it almost felt a bit gritty as they came off, but just doesn't seem to. Yeah, that's not going on right. Be a bit careful with that. It's this side. It is going down. Ah, that's it. That's gone down. Really weird. It's really a tight fit. No calibration on these. They're calibrated at the factory. No alignment if you're putting the same heads back on. It's always nice to check. And yeah, solder these wires back on. So let's make sure I've got it the right way. A is white. B red. Oops, not doing that very well. Oh gosh, it's because I'm balancing on the camera. Yeah, so there we go. It's back together. Just amazed how tight that was. And now pop. Actually, just give that a quick clean. So that's fine. And then get it roughly back in the right position. And this will pull back anyway and align itself. And I will just give this one last torque. I should have put enough pressure on it, but just to be sure. I should get a fraction of a turn on that one. And a bit of a turn on that one. Fair enough. Super. Put those back in the home, and I'll put the fan on. So this does actually, it isn't just like a dust shield. It does actually introduce an airflow, which helps with the tape transport when the heads are rotating, which of course they always are when the tape's moving, regardless on a Sony. With some very rare exceptions. And we've got that bit there. So short screws. Some decks it's easy to get them muddled up with longer, same screw but longer, and they do risk pounding the heads, which would not be good. Super. So I should be able to and just look at those chips again. It's looking good. Looking good. I am very careful, but sort of the argument against doing such a thorough check of these is you might damage the chip. It would be so easy to do. It's not only just knocking it, it's put your finger on one by mistake, slipping, a screwdriver going in the wrong direction, all those fun things. But I mean, touch wood, I've never damaged one, so that's good. But it's always a first time, so just be warned on that. Okay, so time to get it back in the machine, I suppose. Okay, so I've dropped the machine back down onto the drum, sort of roughly lined it up. Got the cables so they're in the right location. I'm going to drop a washer back in, and then I'm going to just guide this, and I'm just using the cables really just to, there we go, just to guide where the drum is going. So I'm actually lifting it with my fingers on the other side of the deck, from the top of the deck, if you like. And once one of these screws is in, it doesn't have to be in tight at all. It just needs to grab like so. And then, you know, if you do let go, it's fine. Another washer there. Another washer there. You do really need these because they help make sure that the plastic doesn't get split. Obviously you don't want a spring going straight against the plastic either. I believe this is this carbon dosed plastic as well. That one doesn't seem to want to quite go in. There we go. Right, so let's route these cables. Where do we go? So what I'll do now is I will run. I will clean this leaf switch while I'm here. I might as well. Makes a lot of sense. And I will put the can back on in. We took out right at the beginning. That connects to that there, like so. Yeah, and then we've got the other bit, and blah blah blah. I think that's right. And then, obviously, back onto the servo board for the head motor. And then we should be able to give this a try, I think. I have given it a clean, but I'll show that in a minute. So, yeah, let's crack on. And of course, I did actually show the incorrect routing for this cabling. The brown cables actually don't go through this clip, they just go around here. Held by the little cable management that's actually on the can, and sort of held in place by this plastic bit here, a bit of plastic assembly which sort of goes on to cover the leaf switch there as well. So yeah, that's how it should go. Super, so everything's connected. Next thing I need to do is put these bits of guide, oh, there's a bit of muck there, back on. So yeah, we'll get and do that next. So let's test it, and while I power this on, I will confess I did check it after recording the last section yesterday, and yeah, I know what the results are, and you probably are getting a clue by the fact that I've got a scope behind there. So, anyway, let's press play. And as you can see, I do have nothing at all, and I did because of the way I run all the cables, and it goes to the copy box and all the rest of it. I haven't done it direct to the TV for this bit. I did wonder if I had a cabling issue. I hooked up my portable VHS to the back and played through some video absolutely fine. So I know video section's fine as it stands, but yeah, so I thought, oh gosh, have I damaged the heads? And I don't think I have. You might have seen in the last sequence where I showed the heads after I put everything together, and I've just viewed that back, and they look absolutely perfect. So unless they were damaged before, then you know it's nothing I've done that I can see. But I've hooked up to pin 6 on the white connector, which is the RF out, and that's what I'm getting, which to me suggests and sort of ties in, because if I press pause, nothing. If I scan, nothing at all. It's just literally, there's nothing. Let's pause. There's nothing there. There's no RF. So my feeling is this can's faulty, or there's a fault in it. And somebody's been here before, because they've bent over pin 1, which is the control pulse, and yeah, they've just bent it over. And I will say, when I was looking at it, you know, when we were taking this all apart, it did feel like something had sort of gone on a bit. My feeling is that this deck was retired because of this fault, not because the heads had stopped rotating, or it was physically the deck wasn't working. I think there was a head fault. It was retired, put back in its box, one day, you know, and yeah, subsequently the moisture's got into that Hall effect and it's taken that out. And I'd be interested to ask the person I bought this off, actually, whether it did initially fire up just briefly before that died, because that would really be helpful in some ways to know that it was retired for a different fault. Having said that, what does that really tell me? Probably nothing at all, because it's a Betamax. It might have just been retired just because it's a Betamax and then went over to VHS. But this has been looked at, and I think this fault is what retired this deck. So, yeah, that's quite interesting. It's always quite fun with these machines to try and get sort of cobbled together a bit of a story, a backstory to why they were laid up. And more often than not, it is just because they were Betamax and, you know, VHS was the replacement. So, yeah. But I've had a dig around. It actually took me longer to find this than to actually diagnose what was going on here. Because this was fairly well buried. There isn't rust, it's actually ink. Sony's thing for marking stuff. But yeah, so I have another can, so I'm going to change the can over. I know we do have some alignment to do, possibly. I will check that. But yeah, let's just do that and just see if that makes any difference. See if it is actually electronic and not heads. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Okay, so new board is in. See what happens. Well, I still have nothing. Nothing at all. So, I must have bad heads. Well, okay. I might just give the heads a clean. Okay, so first of all, I got it completely wrong. Pin 1 is here. It's because I was checking the control pulses were there, and they are, as we saw. But yeah, pin 1's the RF, and as you can see, there is RF. Obviously, it's all over the place because I need to take the control pulse to second channel so I can monitor it in phase. At the moment, it's just all over the place. Can't trigger, whatever. But it's fine. I can see there's RF there. So that's cool. I checked the heads. The heads, I checked it on this, which I know isn't necessarily the full, like, yeah, the heads are good, but they check fine, they check good, which is great as well. Obviously this is a VHS, full VHS, but I've used this so much with new and old beta heads that I know what to expect. So yeah, and they're good. They're reading sort of around about the 3 mark, which is what I'd expect, really. Check the transformer on the primary side, if you like, on the head side, all fine. But we do have RF, so yeah. So we do have a video fault. So going to have to investigate that. That'll be fun. But I think we're going to leave this one here. Not quite what I was hoping to do. I was hoping to get this fully working. I will need to change the caps in this power supply as well. The small caps that can cause issues just as part of the refurbishment side of things, and I replace fuses just for the reliability as well. So that'll be done before part 2. Or the next one. It's going to be the next one. I'm not going to do this as a series. But yeah, there's something wrong with the video side of it. So with that, hope you enjoyed this one. Bit of a funny one. If you've got any comments what you think is actually wrong. I've also got video blanking going on there somewhere. Let me know. Be interested to hear your thoughts, but yeah, by the time this video comes out, probably I will have got this working. So yeah, because I make them a few weeks in advance before they come out. So yeah, but thank you very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this one. Like I say, a little bit different. And yeah, see you in another video. Bye for now.